Have you heard about the comet coming our way? I mean the comet that is from 0.6 light years away, but may come as close as Saturn in 2031. It's about 10 times larger than most comets according to phys.org, but 1,000 times more massive if you believe digitaltrends.com. And after this close encounter, it will be back, say, around another 3 million years, according to phys.org, or 600,000 years, according to Forbes. Comet Bernardinelli and Bernstein was discovered by two scientists in 2014, and that's how it got the name. Wish I found it with my pal, Mr. Pan. Then we'll have a much cool name, like Peter's Pan. But the name's got to stay. But how about facts about this comet? When we found it, it was at a distance of 29 AU, which is the distance of Neptune. But now it is at the distance of Uranus, which is 20 AU. 1 AU is the distance from Earth to the Sun. So how far is 0.6 light years away? It's about 40,000 times farther away from the Sun and our home planet Earth. And why did the comet from far away hit the front page news 3 days ago? Is it about to hit the Earth? Well, not really. At least based on current calculations. But the comet is quite unusual. Not only because it is huge, depending on which news article you pick to read, it can be as big as several times bigger than the one that killed the dinosaurs. So you may wonder, why do you even bother reading my story? We're used to reading unreliable news in the era of fake news. What do I have to offer? Like this comet, our team probably does not fit into this solar system. We made about 800 videos with original contents in the last 6 years or so. The first 500 of those got about 13 million YouTube views. After some invisible hands in YouTube decided to make our channel invisible. So we focused on submitting to film festivals and have won over 1,000 IMDb acknowledged film awards. All films were written, directed, and produced by the same legal alien born in Taiwan. And listen to this. She won 7 awards this year alone in the 54th World Fest Houston. I mean, the festival Ang Lee and Steven Spielberg won. And we are about to tell you what prophecies say about this comet. The reason I have to brag about this record is not to sell anything, but to make sure that you take our warning seriously. In Tui Bei Tu, the book commonly known as the most mysterious book in China, written 1,300 years ago, there is a coming prophecy devoted just to this comet. Tui Bei Tu is controversial because it is so accurate. Many feel like it can't be true. A copy was taken during the Second Opium War in 1860 to Europe, which became an undisputed script for the next 160 years. The first 33 poems outline important events from AD 618 on. But the copy in Europe authenticated several prophecies from 1860 on. In Tui Bei Tu, poem 34 started in 1851 and ended in 1864 and became the first undisputed fulfilled prophecy. The copy taken was several hundred years old. The rebel mentioned in poem 34 was partially fulfilled when it was taken. But poem 35 predicted emperor in China, who fled the Opium War, will not return. He died soon after the prophecies were taken at age 30. The poem predicted his fleeing, where he will flee to, how the palace will be burnt, and how the West invasion happened during King's fight with Peace Rebel, and how his 2 widows would raise an orphan son. Poem 36 then described how Empress Dowager Cixi ruled China after, adopted her son's cousin as new emperor after her son died, caused China to suffer when she trusted Boxer Rebel in 1899, and that led to China's war with the Eight-Country Alliance. The poem then predicted the end of Qing and start of Republic of China in 1910. It pointed out the place where the revolution will happen, Wuhan, the lunar calendar August as the day to end Qing reign, and the fact China will no longer have an emperor. Even the name of Republic was hidden in the fourth line of the short poem, and it predicted the one taking helm from last Emperor Sun Tungtubi Zongtung, the Chinese name of president. It also predicted the chaos to follow in decades following the revolution. Poem 38 is about World War I. It stated about this being a war outside of China. You may not know it, although China joined the winning side and sent non-combat labor and material, China was treated like the one that lost. Instead of gaining back Germans' occupied land in China, the alliance gave it to Japan. This is quoted in the last part of the poem, suffering to be the same even when war was outside the door. Poem 39 not only predicted the beginning and end of World War II, it predicted how China would be divided by the ROC on its last breath. The puppy governments in Manchuria and Nanking, and even the name of the heads of the two states controlled by Japan. It predicted the year Japan would surrender, and this poem was partially decoded before the end of World War II, and some officials started to take cover before the end based on the prophecy. Then Poem 40 revealed a different kind of world with a different kind of prediction. Prior to our team decoding with the new concept of decoding, prophecy scholars were stuck on Poem 40. Because Tui Bei Tu predicted one dynasty after another in the past 1,200 years of predictions, the Chinese civil wars may have ended ROC's rule in mainland China, but the government led by General Chiang Kai-shek thrived in the small island called Taiwan during the next 75 years. The secret to decode this is pretty simple. I'll share with you. After the Chinese Civil War, China is no longer a country, and events no longer happen on a straight timeline. The picture showed 3 kids playing. That represented China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. The fate of mainland China, Taiwan, or Hong Kong needs to be predicted separately. With that in mind, I believe we decoded correctly what happened in Taiwan, Hong Kong, the Korean War, USA's involvement, the trade war, the after-trade war world, and the coronavirus pandemic. I will explain quickly before jumping to Poem 52, which is the Comet prophecy. China may have 14 billion people, but best of luck to anyone trying to find logical decodings and willing to hire a narrator like to share the information with the world. If you do find someone, check if they crack the code on Poem 43 and 45 on the trade war in 2019. Although many people found Mao Zedong's and his second-in-command, Zhou Enlai's name in Poem 40, our team found Chiang Kai-shek's name, his and 3 KMT's president's name after him. The prediction for the winner of Chinese Civil War and how Chiang's party KMT would lose grab of power, and also the end of ROC. Then we found Poem 40 to be about Hong Kong. The words hidden we uncovered were the world foreigners' colony, the 99-year lease, the one country, 2 laws, the protest in 2019, the one behind the unification, Deng Xiaoping, Deng's name and the year Deng will die. We also pointed out what the soldier stepped on is not a ball, but the pearl of Asia. Poem 42 showed how USA's involvement in Asia stabilized the region during the Korean War. Some scholars suspected this to be about the Korean War because the bow on the ground looked like Taiwan, and Taiwan's name in Chinese contains a bow. While Korean War reached a peak in 1951, which is the year of the rabbit. But our team found the hidden name of not only China, Korea, and Japan, but also pointed out how American in Chinese is the same as beautiful lady, as shown in the picture. How Navy's white uniform was mentioned in the white color clothes. How USA stations in Korea was quoted as Navy stationed in Korean City. Of course, the prophet stated the price to pay for getting USA help. He said, quite a stir with a mess in a million. On February the 3rd, 2019, 3 months after Huawei's Meng Wanzhou was detained in Canada, we pretty much decoded the never-revealed secret codes in this poem. Ren's name, the mention of his kids, Meng's name, how the kids unknowingly stepped into a trap and could not get out, and it hinted at the long-dragging war and the eventual outcome. People did not pay much attention to Poem 43 till 1993, when Taiwan's leader Ma met China's leader Xi. People suddenly realized how both of their names were hidden in Poem 44 out. We don't want to dispute the fact that both of their names are cleverly hidden, but we believe there are more important messages hidden in this poem. At the same time when we figured Poem 43 out, we figured Poem 44 out and released it on February the 6th, 2019. That one actually reached 112,000 viewers. We got it right, but not 100%. We found Huawei Ren's name again and predicted that China will survive and lead the surrounding countries, as we found many countries' names hidden in this poem. The easy ones were Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Japan, Korea. But when RCEP was announced, we quickly issued a new video on November 25th, 2020. We could not believe how the prophet put all 16 countries' name in a poem with only 40 words, and are very proud of us finding the clues beforehand and decoding it right after. Sadly, that happened after someone in YouTube or Google decided to remove my subscribers without their knowledge and took people off the notification list. So you most likely never heard about this decoding. Well, I don't think it makes any difference whether we decoded 8 names or all 16 beforehand. I think it is important for us to get the general message beforehand so we can better prepare for the future. But not figuring out small hidden clues can have serious consequences. Tui Bei Tu is such a fascinating book. Our team released 2 videos about it in January 15 and January 17, 2017. We talked about Poem 45 and said it as a war, maybe a world war. Since Tui Bei Tu is about China, so China or Taiwan must play a part, while the other party may be Japan, because there is a sun. Since Japan has a sun flag, it can be the other party. We even released a video on December 22, 2019, to bring the theory up again with more details. Although we question the timing of the event, as if it is really about Japan, they have not started arming themselves. Although we know how quickly a developed country like Japan can build a nuclear bomb and blow everyone up, we do not see any trace of it, especially when Poem 43 and 44 started to shape just as predicted. And then we realized, after the pandemic, the World War has started, and just as indicated. Future in Prophecy 6, Tui Bei 45, released in October 2020, showed how the sun was not a sun, it was the coronavirus. And the war is not a traditional war. It is a war when countries fight against a common enemy, the virus. As you can see, the heart was marked in front of both soldiers' chest. It is telling us the only way to win is to fight side by side. I won't get to details, but if you do subscribe and follow us, you can watch the follow-up videos. We released many decodings on Poem 46. We thought we got it right many times, but now it seems like our original decoding has the best chance to hit it. It stated dark mist. Kill is no longer by knife. Pretty obvious for this to be placed behind the COVID-19 pandemic. Sorry to tell you that this means the pandemic is far from being over, and the disease transmitted by air will kill many people. We asked about 3-4 years ago, what does 10,000 won't die mean? Does that mean only 10,000 of us will survive? It says one person can't escape. Who is the one person? We are not 100% sure on poem 47, but I will share with you what I saw. On the third line of the short poem, when you put the two words responsible, you will actually get two new words, true leader. And I think it means the true leader for China is hidden in this poem. Poem 48 shows a war. It is a war to happen between Chinese Year of the Dragon and Snake. The next such year is 2023 and 2024, but this may not mean that year. Could be 12 years after, or 24, 36, or 72, or 144 years later. But this war may not be between countries. Look at the fight between the snake on the ground and the dragon from above. Is it a war between us and the alien? Well, we will analyze it in more detail in other videos. Although poem 49 can be something to happen even further down the line, we figured at least part of it out. The 8 knives in the poems show the word division. It seemed to show a world where few people gather in scattered areas. A quote said, "What's left of the civilization scatter around." Poem 50 shows another gruesome after doomsday scene. The one easy to decode, a part in the short poem stated animal worth more than human, while long poem stated rice worth nothing. A coyote flock by in the street. Some poems may not be what they look like, but before we get more information, what we can see is what I just showed you. And that's a scary scene. After the horrible description in poem 50, a more calm and peaceful poem appears in poem 51. It stated how yin and yang balance, and a great leader, most likely a woman, rule. And she for sure brings hope to the world. Then comes the Comet poem. I'll translate it word for word so you can see how important the prophet felt. Short poem. Comet showed up. Not good for northeast. Walk slowly back and forth. Peak at paradise on the other side. Long poem. Comet shoot from east like a flying dot. Wu Chao. The southern part of China still under rule. The one coming will be here long. The world to be rebuilt from the horn. I know it is hard to understand the true meaning of this, but please note the word comet appeared twice in the poem. And pretty much the poem is about the comet. Take a look at the picture. It is a man walking back to a celestial object. Maybe the sun or the moon, but the poem is about a comet. So we can assume the picture means one of 3 things. If the big circle on sky is the comet, then the comet will not stop it beyond Saturn. Is that possible? Of course. Look at what I showed you at the beginning. Reputable website rushed to release information they were not even sure on. From 1 light year to 0.6, from 10 times the bigger than most comets to 1,000 times. All the sites stated one thing clear though. The comet won't pose any threat to the Earth. How do they know? We're talking about a comet they have never seen. Actually, if not for our Chinese prophecy, I don't even know if I should believe this to be a comet. How do they know the true trajectory? Plus, we only found this one 7 years ago. How do we know the next such comet won't come even closer to the Earth? Or this can be the sun? Well, if a comet can be seen under the bright sun, it must be damn close to Earth, right? Let's assume this is the moon. Okay, well, then maybe not so bad. But the person walking seems to echo the line walking back and forth, looking at paradise and the other side. Is the comet so close people can actually see the other world? And the most concerning part, maybe the most promising part, the last line in the long poem, the world to be rebuilt from the horn. Maybe after the disastrous doomsday from poem 47 on, our hope to have civilization rebuilt had to be pinned on a guest flying through. Believe it or not, this prophecy is not the only one mentioning a comet. Outer space. Rebuilt, even Nostradamus mentioned comet. I know there is nothing much we can do, even if we know. But I'm sure whatever little we can do will be better than not knowing and not doing anything. This is Ken Peters. Thank you for watching.